she's been serving there the longest. And I'll tell you one thing that I know as my personal friend. When I call her office, whether it's Nick answering the phone or someone else answering the phone, they know who I am. So the thing is, I'm just a constituent, I'm just someone that follows under her leadership. And the thing is that if you call her office, somebody will get back to you. Not like other people we know with politicians, when they get in there. So I'd like to introduce you to my friend for the longest period of time since I've known her, for the community and for the people, Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur.
Thank you, Lou, very much for your kind words and for your unending energy on behalf of the Mexican-American and also Puerto Rican-American community, all those of Latin heritage. I wanted to thank Lucy for this all the effort that it took for you and your associates to put on this beautiful, beautiful banquet. It's simply elegant. And I know that Councilman Cummings, I know that Council President Carney, and also the Mayor, Mayor Jackson, we all thank you for inviting us and allowing us to participate. It is very significant that the Council General from Detroit traveled all the way from Detroit to be with us here in Cleveland, Juan Morales, and if you could kind of give him another round of applause. We are very, very grateful that you are here in Cleveland today. We thank you for your service to your country and for what you bring to us on behalf of your magnificent country. I just asked him, I said, is Mexico City still the largest city in the world? He goes, no, we're number 3. And he said we have 21 million people. 21 million people from the capital of his country. Today, I know I'm standing between you and lunch, so I have to be careful here and keep it brief. But I wanted to say what an honor it is for me to be here today to help to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. During my career, usually if there's a Cinco de Mayo celebration, there's always music, there's always dancing, there's always festivity, there's always food, and there's always a great deal of joy. And it reaches deep into the Mexican character to celebrate this day. And there's something special that happens as memory and history come together. And as I watched the military unit walk in from the Cleveland Police Department at the beginning of our ceremony, and I looked at the American flag and I looked at the Mexican flag, I thought about our complicated histories as countries bound on this continent. And I thought a lot about Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's great, great admonition that the arc of history bends toward justice. And regardless of which country we live in, and we all love our countries, there's something more that's required. And that is a dedication to a set of values that are enduring in the human family. And that we reach deeper into ourselves as we celebrate our own heritage. And we think a lot about, as Americans, not just the meaning of freedom, but the meaning of liberty. To really understand the meaning of liberty means you have to have experienced something else. You have to be freed from something. Not just to experience the condition of freedom, but not to have oppression, in whatever form it might come. And we hope by studying the history of Mexico and our own history that we will come to a fuller understanding through these heritages of the meaning of liberty and the meaning of our own lives. So today we celebrate a heritage, a very, very long heritage, a heritage of struggle, a struggle for identity, and a struggle for meaning that came at a great price. for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people who will remain nameless to history, the history of this continent. A very long history, a complex history, but one that has led to a point where we have come together today to celebrate the persevering spirit of those who remember the battle on this continent for Mexico to come into being. It took many years after Cinco de Mayo, this particular day, many years after the battle against the French, by forces that were ill-equipped, but nonetheless had a vision, and helped to create a place for people who had been ruled and subjugated for many generations. It is an awesome history. It is a part of the history of the United States as well as the history of this continent was lived. That territory was ceded, and as one of my dear colleagues from New York reminds me, look at the names of Colorado, or Arizona, or California, and you will begin to understand the history of the United States of America. And we understand more about the history of Mexico and about the parts of Mexico that are a part of our heritage. So I'm here today to say that you have a community that is dedicated, one whose force is multiplied by your coming together as, yes, Americans and friends of America, but also as those who have a heritage deep enough to draw you here today. For those who do not have roots in Mexico, and many people here do not, thank you for understanding the broader meaning of liberty and what it takes to build a free society with a mindfulness toward your own history, because it is that memory that creates the meaning of liberty that undergirds this society. And perish the thought that we would ever forget that struggle for being. Not just the being of nationhood, but the being of human beings who had been suppressed before, but finally had a chance to flower with their own identity. Our nations are both becoming. Hopefully we will be better than we were in the past. But this day reminds us of the history of North America and our shared struggle for meaning as nations and as people. Thank you, Cinco de Mayo Committee. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you to Mayor Jackson. Thank you to all of those who have made today possible. Thank you to Blaine Griffin. Thank you to all of those who have made our beautiful gathering today such a joyous event. Congratulations, and thank you for the opportunity to share a few thoughts today. And I forgot a very important, que viva Mexico. Okay,